It is July 1st. It is Canada Day, and to celebrate the occasion, we're going on a Canada hunt. This is, of course, Canada Hunt for Windows, and it is a PC CD-ROM game, not even DVD-ROM. And this came out, copyright of 2009. Hunt wild animals on the move. Take aim at some of nature's most sought-after species. Get up close and personal with white-tailed deer in Saskatchewan. The Colorado Rockies. Wait, that's not in Canada. And the Savannah River Basin. That's not in Canada either. That's in South Carolina. Or is it? It's not Canada. So, customized weapons. Maximum Family Games. Rated T for teen. Yeah, it's really a family game here. Anyways, I haven't played the game yet, and I already can tell you one positive. It only cost me $2 at the local dollar store. Yeah, I guess that's small comfort. This was also available on the Wii, and I've never seen that version, but I could bet you right now that that doesn't cost $2. You're probably paying too much for whatever they charge you. I think I probably paid too much for this version, but in any case, I'm gonna open this up and please bear with me for several weeks as I try to pull this out with one hand. Good old flimsy instruction manual with lots of text. And not much more than that. That's the instruction manual, and this is your CD-ROM, Canada Hunt PC CD-ROM software, rated T for teen, PSR outdoors, or is it Routdoors, or anyways. I've already installed it onto my PC, so let's check out Canada Hunt for Windows. I think I've stalled long enough. Let's get to it.
Oh, oh God, that's a terrible nightmare. This dreaming I had was in this barren wasteland. It was supposed to be Saskatchewan, and it was barren. It was nothing but fake-looking grass and stuff. And oh wait, that wasn't a dream. That was Canada Hunt for Windows that I paid a toonie for. Christ, that's terrible, huh? I suppose we could start with the positives of Canada Hunt, however few they may be. Number one, when you start the game, you go straight to the main menu of the game. There's no logos to wait through, no cinemas to sit through. Click, wait for it to load, main menu, ready to go. Quite a rarity with modern games these days. Number two, you do not need the CD-ROM inserted into your CD-ROM or DVD-ROM or Blu-ray drive to play the game. You could easily lose your CD copy somewhere and you could still run Canada Hunt. Couple of points for that. Of course, if you want to uninstall the game, you do need the CD, so it's best to keep that around in the event that you get bored with Canada Hunt. Number three, you cannot climb steep mountains. Slight hills maybe, but really steep mountains or anything like that, you cannot climb. You also cannot pass through solid matter, thus proving that this game has matter, gravity, and physics, and is already a better game than Big Rig's over-the-road racing. top-notch stuff. Number 4, the fog effects in the distance are rather nicely done, with terrain gradually emerging into view as you progress onwards. I also like the trail of footprints that you leave behind, which gives you a decent indication of wherever you've traveled thus far. Of course, these footprints do fade away eventually after a while, but still, it's a nice little effect that they implemented. Number 5. Nature sounds nice, I guess. Number 6. Okay. Sorry about that. I got a little something on my throat, and I'm not really feeling all that. Okay, so here's the deal. You have a number of modes in Canada Hunt. You have sim mode, challenge mode, and practice. Slight variations of each other, but more or less the same game. Sim mode is what you're looking at right now, and what most of the footage will comprise of in this review. Free roaming, do whatever you want, walk very slowly, and take in the sights and sounds, all the while trying to find some game to hunt. Keyword being try. Now, this applies to sim mode, but there's also challenge mode, which is the same game, except you have to kill all the animals within the allotted time limit, and you can walk a lot faster. And then you have practice, which is your shooting gallery of sorts. You sort of just move your sights around and you shoot down animals, with the ammo that you have, which is limited and you can't get any more, as far as I know, at least. There's 3 kinds of hunts that you could go for. The white-tailed deer in Saskatchewan, Canada, the elk in the Colorado Rockies, which is not in Canada, and finally turkey in South Carolina, which is also not in Canada. So how is this Canada hunt if 2 of the hunts are in the US? On the bright side, though, if you do well enough, you could unlock a 4th hunt, the American Jackass.
It's about you socially polite freaks! It's about...
Look, in any case, it's all the same thing. You roam around the large terrain, admiring the nature, ambiance, and the poorly rendered textures that's supposed to depict the great outdoors, but really is depicting something else. And admire this floating tree here. Moving forwards and backwards with the W and S keys while moving around with your mouth, which is actually not that bad controls. Although, not much in terms of mobility, which I'll get to later. Switching to third-person view and watching your hunter walk in a very stiff and unrealistic manner. Roam around aimlessly while switching to the critter cam in order to gauge where the closest animal happens to be. And then you try to find it, and you find that the animal's farther away than... I'm sorry, did I miss anything? Where was I? There's very little that your hunter can do in terms of mobility. You can't sidestep or crouch or jump or any of that cool stuff. You can sort of just walk back and forth and do so in a rather plodding fashion. Unless you're playing challenge mode, in which you're moving slightly faster, and unless you're playing in practice mode, in which you're stuck in a box. Yeah, I know this is supposed to be like a hunting simulator and all that, but even real game hunters can do more than just walk forwards and backwards and move their head around and stuff like that. They sure as hell could move a lot faster, even with all that stuff that they carry around. And I'm pretty sure other hunting simulators on the market are a little more involved and, dare I say, more exciting than, well, this crap. I mean, most of the time I find myself wandering around looking for any semblance of game to hunt. Even when I go to the critter cam, which is supposed to gauge the closest critter, I find myself trying to decipher where that location is, and by the time I'm there, the critter's long gone and it's gone somewhere else. And don't get me started on this one instance where one of the deers was stuck in a box, and I spent well over 10-20 minutes looking for this deer in a box before I decide, well, f*** it, I'm going to play something else. I've sort of complimented the fog effects in Canada Hunt, and I still agree that they're pretty well done. You know, it's fog, it's natural, and stuff doesn't pop out of nowhere. It's gradual and all that. But the overall visuals of Canada Hunt, on the other hand, are pretty bland and not all that great. Not to mention, outside of the weather, the time of day, and some Rockies and the Rocky Mountains, all the environments practically look alike. The same trees, the same watery effects, same crummy textures that looks less like terrain and more like the kind of images you get from orbital satellites, or something out of Zelda's Adventure for the CDI. The animals tend to be simplistic looking, and they don't seem to they don't seem to react when you shoot them. You sort of have this little ball, and they're still somewhat, they're not so much dead so much as they're sleeping. And when you harvest them, they sort of like puff into the air like nothing, and yeah. I mean, what else can I say about this? There's no music outside of the little jingle that plays in the main menu. Game keeps tracks of your stats, the amount of game that you killed, your trophies, and all that. There's a help screen that tells you could customize your gear. Not that would make much of a difference, or at least not from my vantage point. Yeah, I've got nothing. I'm sorry, guys. You know, this turned out to be a pretty big dud. I thought I could do something with this, you know, have a good time with it, at least even if it turned out to be pretty crap. But, no. This game, I don't want to say it sucks, but it is criminally boring because there's nothing going on, not even for a $2 video game. I should feel ripped off, but fortunately I did get something out of this. I got a crummy video review out of a crummy computer game. Thank I didn't buy the Wii version, isn't it? And now that I got this review out of the way, I could use the CD for the one thing that it's actually good at.
Coffee coaster. Happy Canada Day, folks. Oh, and happy 4th of Independence Day to you other people down there. I'm sure you've got a game to celebrate the occasion or something. Not that this is good to celebrate anything. This is good for a coffee coaster. Not even that, actually. It's a pretty crummy coffee coaster. It's what a waste of $2. Later.